Hi stamping friends, this is Jackie Williams, and today I want to share with you a quick project to do using the new Woven Heirlooms suite. And first I want to show you the paper. So I've used some of this, but I think I still have a little bit of each of those there. So you see on one side of the papers, you have these beautiful, they're kind of like an old tapestry type of image. And then you have some more solid images on the other side to mix in. And these are using all of the new in colors, which I love. I think these are the best ones they've come out with yet. And then we're going to pair that with the Woven Heirlooms stamp set, which has this beautiful font in it, and then a few kind of more vintage stamp sets. So let me show you what our finished one, and then we'll go from there. So here's two different versions of it using some of the different papers. Our base is crumb cake, so we'll go ahead and fold that in half and set that aside. Let me find my bone folder. You do want to use a bone folder so you get that really nice flat professional crease. And then we have a Whisper White matte that's just smaller than our card base. So I'm using 5 and 5/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch. Now these are New Zealand sizes, and I'm going to use a different print than what we've got on those samples. So I might go with this one here. Now you can ink up the edges with crumb cake or another brown. The color in these papers is actually Sahara sand, the brown in them, or you can even take the edge of your scissors and just rough them up. I will just a little tiny bit, but you can do more or less as suits you. And put some adhesive on that and put that onto our Whisper White panel, which is hard to see on the Whisper White mat that I've got going on here. And then our little strip of, this is called Pretty Peacock, this color. This is 2 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm going to mat that onto a piece of the crumb cake again, 3 3/4 inches by 2 1/8 inch. Or in theory, I see that this is a little bit longer. I'll just trim that a little bit. And then if you want, you can kind of rough up the edges of these as well. All right, then we'll adhere that to our card front. And you can position that wherever you think looks good. I kind of like the 1/3, 2/3 proportion. Now we need to pick a ribbon. Now these ribbons, these are going to be, whoopsies, these are going to be a fast favorite. These are, let's see, what are they called? Doesn't really, the scalloped linen ribbon. And these come in the 5 in colors as well. And then a little bit of sort of crumb cake, Sahara sand, burlap sort of thing in the middle. So because this print has quite a few different colors in it, we can pick any of these that we like. Let's see, this one or this one. I think I'm leaning towards the pink or the Rococo Rose. Although that color looks pretty good too. We'll go with this one, with the Rococo Rose for now. So how I'll do the ribbon, I think, is the easiest way is to cut a piece that's just longer than the width of your card. And we're just going to wrap those around. And I see a lot of people put adhesive underneath their ribbon on the front. You really don't need to do that. And most of the time it kind of just ends up in a big mess anyway. Just adhering it on the back is really all you need. Then for our focal point, we'll do that next before we do the bow. We have the stitched oval from the Stitch Shape Framelits that comes with ovals, circles, and squares. It's a real great one to have in your pack. And then we have the set of ovals collection that are just standard ovals and scallop ovals. Now this standard oval, in my opinion, is a bit big to mat this, just a little bit. So one way to make it a little smaller is we're going to just rough up the edges, which does make the oval a little smaller. We're taking some of the size off. And then if you want, you can just go ahead and wrinkle up the whole thing. And those creases also take up space. So it adds to the vintage look, but in reality, these creases are going to be covered. So then when you add your white oval on it, you see that that mat is considerably smaller and it fits a lot better. So that's one way you can do that. But let's do our stamping and embossing on our stitched oval first. So we're going to use the little flourish from this stamp set first. And I'm going to take the color from that strip there. So that is the Pretty Peacock. Just ink it up gently. You just want to have ink on the image and not on any of the recessed rubber or any of the block, just on the image. So you might need to practice just a few times to get just the right feel, and that's okay. Okay, so we're just going to stamp one top and one bottom, and then we'll use the Emboss Buddy all over. And I'm going to tap it rather than rub it this time. And then we'll do our words in Versamark. Now you have two choices of words. One is kind of a wishing you a nice day, nice one. And the other one is more of a sympathy. I'm going to choose the sympathy one in this instance. All right. And then you can use the copper or the gold embossing powder. I mean, obviously you can use whatever powder you want, but I think the copper or the gold would work with these papers the best. And then we'll just go and heat that up. I'm using copper. Okay, now, if you'd like, you can use a little bit of the crumb cake around the edges, just so it's not quite a stark white with this more vintage coloring of this particular project. And then go ahead and adhere that onto the crumb cake oval that we prepared earlier. Okay, then that needs to go up on dimensionals. And I'll be fairly generous with these. I got my words a little bit slanted, but I actually think it looks fine. And then we want to tie our bow. So I think it's easier to tie the bow after. So just going to slip that underneath that existing ribbon. And I have 12 inches of the ribbon here. Now, because it has scallops on the edge, I find that it's a little bit harder to manipulate. However, this ribbon's also very stiff, which means that it does tend to kind of stay where you position it, which is a good thing too. So trim those ends nicely. So if I want it more like here, and then if all else fails, just grab a glue dot and kind of make it sit where you want. We don't want to cover up our words. There we go. And then you can leave that as is, but I'm going to add a little piece of linen thread underneath here as well. So that can slip underneath the knot that I've made. And then just tie a second bow over the top. It just gives it a bit more luxury, I guess. And it all kind of it all tones in, so it's not going to stick out. Okay, so something like that. Okay, then we're going to put this onto our card front, the crumb cake that we prepared. Okay, then the very last thing, which I think I won't do on the video, is we're going to add sequins, and these are just so yummy. This is the Woven Threads Sequin Assortment, and it's all 5 of the in colors, plus there's some in there that are kind of white, a little bit of a light pink sort of white, and they are just so wonderful. So those would get added. I've done 5 on the card front. So let's go back to the original ones that I had finished, and then inside your card you can take that long, this one that looks like a little piece of tapestry, and I've stamped that a couple times. This one is in terracotta tile, and then just copper embossed some words as well, and then you can make a matching envelope. So thanks for watching. I hope you give this one a try, and I hope you love that Woven Threads suite as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Bye.